Hey everybody, Terrible Shoes back at it again, and for today's video, I'm actually going to be talking about another topic. I normally cover like whatnot scammers and stuff on this channel, but this week I got a few rants, and this particular rant is going to be about how the Pokemon Company has completely abandoned the American consumer and doesn't really care whether you can get cards or not, and it's actually crazy. I'm Terrible Shoes. Hit the like and subscribe button, it helps me out a ton. And again, this is just my opinion. I'm not going to try to like shoot everything here out as a direct fact, but this is how I personally feel about this. We are watching distributors still handing out massive amounts of boxes to LGSs and other places, and then these places get them at distro price, and then they will sell you the English product at 5 to 10x market. If you're lucky, you'll be able to find it as cheap as 2 to 3x, which I still think is absolutely ridiculous. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me why this is happening, because the Pokemon Company can quite literally enhance production. They have the money, they have the utilities, and they have the resources. They are simply choosing not to do it because they do not care about the American market state, and they do not care about you, the American consumer. I don't really know what changed this, but we have watched obviously over the last year or so since Surging Sparks. We have seen almost a second generational scalping run in the Pokemon TCG. Back in 2021, obviously, we saw this happen with some weaker sets like Chilling Reign and Battle Styles and such in the Sword and Shield era. However, I don't think anything compares to what's going on with the TCG now. The Pokemon Company does not care about the American consumer. I said that in the beginning of the video, and I'm standing 10 toes down on it as well. It is just a ridiculous thing considering you can go anywhere online, and Americans, I'm going to be straight here, Americans are mass consumers. They buy tons and tons and tons of products, especially blind boxes and trading cards and such like that. And there is a gigantic market for them to make an absolute ton of money, but they seem to just not care that the average American consumer and worker, I would even go as far as to say, doesn't have the time to wait in a queue for 3 hours to be told there's nothing left. Doesn't have the time to go at 1 p.m. in the afternoon to wait on a line at Target for 3 hours just to be told there were only 2 ETBs in stock. It's ridiculous. They're doing absolutely nothing about it, and it is entirely purposeful because they don't care about the American consumer. All they care about is the money that they are making by short printing these sets. They don't care that bots are buying off their websites. They don't care that they're not allocating enough product. And my other thing that I actually think they really, really need to address, we need to start not allowing LGSs to sell official Pokemon product if they are going to abuse MSRP. If you're LGS, there needs to be a system set up. I've said this for a really long time, that LGSs are massive scalpers, and a lot of people refuse to accept this fact. There are many LGSs that were charging tons upon tons of money over MSRP. I've seen tons of pictures online. In fact, even some of my own local ones are charging upwards of $400 for a very recent booster box, $50 for booster bundles, $30 to $50 for 3-pack blisters. These used to sit on shelves for years collecting dust because there was so much of it out in the wild that anyone could buy it, and that is how it should be. It should not be a whoever has no job can get it first. Let's put it that way. And I'm actually going to throw a little theory in here as well. I have a feeling that, and I've actually said this about a lot of video games as well, that the world is becoming almost centered around content creation and such like that. And that is why the Pokemon Company doesn't care that the average consumer can't get products. They only care that their little Pokemon YouTubers and can get their product and make the card game look great online. Because why else will we have these utterly ridiculously timed drops that are in the middle of the day when the average person is at work? There is no evening drops. There is no, for some reason with Target and other websites, there's insanely early morning drops. So once again, most people that have a job or some type of responsibility aren't going to be up that late. So it is left to scalpers, bots, the unemployed, and content creators to scoop everything up. This change is horrible for people like you and me that have to, unfortunately, if we want English product, we're going to have to pay the insane upcharge. And that's not fair. Me personally, I work relatively early in the morning and I don't really get out until around mid-afternoon. So having a drop at 1 p.m. doesn't work for me or most people. And they don't have any type of evening drops or anything like that for the consumer that gets off of work around mid-afternoon. And let's be real, most people's jobs aren't going to allow them to sit on a phone and monitor a queue in the middle of the day. So that's a complete load of BS right there. And it is just not fair to the consumer. It's not fair to anyone who is employed. It is not fair to anyone who hasn't built a bot to scalp every single product on the website all at once. It is an incredibly rigged system, and I really think more people should be tired of this because I hate it. I'm watching people who make YouTube videos and make $100,000+ a year not give a shit about scalper prices because they can afford it, and it's not fair to the average person. I feel like the Pokemon Company takes one look at that and goes, yep, that's fine. These guys can get it and that's fine. But if you and your kids can't get it, who gives a shit? And I have to be real. More people need to start voting with their wallets, stop buying from scalpers, and I'd even go as far as to say just stop buying English product altogether and let all the value tank. It's great to have cards that are worth money. I'm not going to lie. It feels great to pull an insanely valuable card. And I own many insanely valuable cards that I even keep in a safe myself because that's how expensive they are. But it's a little nuts that any set that's recent like this is this hard to get. And all the card values are bloated. Those are not real values. They won't be worth this in 10 years. And I don't understand why people don't get that. Like, it's nuts. It's just really nuts to me. Well, maybe in 10 years they'll be worth it, but they shouldn't be worth, like, there should not be a modern card that has come out within the last 5 years that is worth over $500. That doesn't make sense to me. $200 maybe if it's an incredibly hard to get card, but $500 for cards that you're seeing pulled left and right everywhere is ridiculous. And it's all a byproduct of the abysmal system that the Pokemon Company has set up. And I blame them. They're entirely to blame. They are the base of the problem, and they apparently just don't want to do anything because they hate you as the American consumer. So not really much we can do here, except hope that the bubble bursts. I really hope we have a really bad set soon that's like so bad it actually turns these people back onto sneakers or something, because this shit needs to end and the hobby needs to be retaken by people who actually enjoy it. And with that, I'm going to end the video here. Please let me know your input down below. Like I said, I'm not too keen on what the Pokemon Company has been doing lately, but I want to know what you think. So leave your comments down below. Hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. Share the video around, and I'll see you in the next one. Hit the like button too. Helps me out a ton.